Hello. This guide aims to take someone who has never played games before through how to play and enjoy this game on their own or with friends. However, in this guide are explanations on the finer points of each game which hopefully other players will find helpful and entertaining. I've timestamped each of the sections in this guide here and in the description, so feel free to jump to the game that you want further explanation about. Along with this video, I have produced written guides for each of the versions which can be found here. The game can be downloaded here and the rest of Jamey's games can be found on the same site. All his games are fantastic and I would highly recommend investing in one of them if you're looking for a way to get involved in the community. There is a brilliant guide here to find out which game best suits what your style is. Jamey's own channel and his teach and play for the game can be found here. I found the videos very useful, but unfortunately, due to the unedited live stream nature, they are hard to navigate to find specific information, which I hope to improve upon in this video.
Created on the weekend of March 22nd, 2020, the free print and play game Rolling Realms is a great way to continue playing board games during the current quarantine. Designed by Stonemaier Games owner Jamey Stegmaier, the game captures the essence of each of the Stonemaier products, and yet, with its unique mechanics and art style, is a standalone product from the creator. Each realm is built on the very simple mechanic of using a dice value, and yet the varied approaches ensure that no realm feels repetitive while playing another or a copy of one of the other ones.
Even though it is made for the current social distancing time, I hope this game continues on afterwards as a fun game in its own right and a brilliant way to bring new players into the world of board games. However, I have noticed as a result of the concise approach taken by the designer, some of the game's mechanics and ideas require some interpretation, which I think would be hard for someone who has had little experience of games to do. It would be a shame for someone would be put off this game for this reason, as the mechanics are incredibly beginner friendly and a fantastic way to start getting involved with games at low costs due to the game being free to play. Initially, there are a variety of realms, while exciting to an experienced player, to a beginner can seem overwhelming. Do not worry, each round has 3 games involved, so there is not a large amount of information to retain. I suggest you watch the intro of this video, and then watch the sections of the video that are relevant to the current 3 rounds you are playing. Enjoy that round, and then come back and look at the next 3 rounds. This way you don't have to try and remember how to play all of the rounds throughout the game.
To play the game, all you need to do is print off a sheet for each player, a pencil and a rubber, and for one of the players to roll 2 dice. However, in theory, using something like Paint and an online dice generator, nothing would have to be printed off, though I prefer the hard copy. The overall game is split into 3 rounds with 9 turns in each round. At the start of a round, you choose which 3 games are going to be played. No realm can be played twice, so over the course of the game, all 9 rounds will be used. I recommend that the first 3 games you play are Tapestry, Wingspan and Charterstone, as these have relatively simple mechanics, and taking only 1 die per turn help players understand the core mechanics before moving on to more challenging concepts. On a turn, one player rolls 2 dice and all players use those values to try and earn stars. The player with the largest total number of stars at the end of the game is the winner. Each die can only be used once without bonuses, and most rounds take 1 die per turn. At the end of a turn, the 2 dice are rolled again, and so begins the next turn. I prefer to have all players pass round who rolls the dice each turn, to ensure all players feel involved, but if the game is done virtually, then this can be harder. However, as Jamey has shown in his live streams, only 1 player needs to roll the dice, as what's more important is knowing the value of the dice. Recording the values in this section here on the game sheet will help keep a record of what has been played and what hasn't. Bonuses are split into 3 types: pumpkins, hearts and coins. They are earned through interacting with the realm and are collected here. Like in Jamey's videos, I recommend circling when they are earned and crossing through when they are used. They have very little value in terms of endgame points, but as shown in this section, they help the player earn stars during the course of the game. Pumpkins are used to alter the value of the dice. Paying 2 of them allows the player to change the value of one of the dice by +1 or -1. Note that this changes the dice values for that player, but not for any of the other players. Paying 3 pumpkins allows the player to change the value and place the die into a realm that has already had 1 die put into it. So for example, say the die rolled was a 3 and a 5. I put the 3 into Wingspan. Now I cannot put any more dice into this realm this turn. However, if I pay 3 pumpkins and change the 5 into a 6, and now I can place this alongside the 3 I have already placed. Note the die cannot be adjusted into a pair or to sum 7. Hearts allow one of the dice to be reused. Note that this does not mean it can be placed in the same realm as another die on a turn. It costs 2 hearts to reuse one of the dice if they are a pair, and 3 if they are not. So for example, a 2 and a 5 are rolled. I place the 5 into Tapestry and the 2 into Wingspan. I then pay 3 hearts to reuse the 5. I cannot place this new value into Tapestry or Wingspan, so I put it into Charterstone. Coins can be used to reuse a die in the same way as hearts, but this time the sum of the dice must be a 7 and 2 coins are used. So if a 3 and a 4 are rolled, 2 coins can be paid to reuse one of those values. Note that the reused dice must be used as they were originally rolled and cannot be adjusted by other bonuses to new values. They also cannot be put into the same realms that have already had dice placed into them. Coins have an additional power of being able to be spent into new dice. You pay the quantity of coins to earn a die of that value. So for example, spending 3 coins grants you a new die of the value 3. Note, like before, this cannot be put into a realm that has already had a die placed into it. For example, a 3 and a 6 are rolled. I place the 6 into Tapestry and the 3 into Charterstone, and I spend 2 coins to gain a die of value 2, which I must place into Wingspan, as the other 2 games have already had a die placed into them. This game takes 1 die per turn. When you put a die into the game, you take the appropriate shape depending on the value of the die. The shape can be moved and placed into the board. You can rotate the shape and place it anywhere on the board. However, the entire shape must be used. This means it cannot go over the edge of the board or overlap with any of the filled-in squares. Those might be filled-in dots or shapes that have already been placed on the board. Now, shapes can be used any number of times, but always the value of the die entered into the realm. And of course this realm could only be used once per turn, with the exception of if you were to use pumpkins. Bonuses are earned when a square is filled in, and stars are earned when a full row or column is completed. This game takes 1 die per turn. You can put a die's value into any spot on the board so long as it is not orthogonal to the same value. This means that the same value cannot be placed adjacently. For example, if a 2 is placed here, a second 2 on another turn cannot be placed in these spots, but it could be placed in these. A bonus is gained when a row or column is completed. This realm is worth the same amount of stars as the other realm in play this round with the lowest stars. So, for example, if Tapestry, this game, and Wingspan are in play, and these are the values for the other 2 games, then Between Two Cities will be worth 3 as well. However, this does come with the condition that this value is the same or lower than the amount of filled-in squares in this game. So, if only 2 squares have been filled, like so, then 2 would be earned instead of 3.
This is the first game which is a bit more complex, so you might need to watch this section again to really understand it, but hopefully this helps. Most of the time, this game takes 1 die per turn. However, if a pair is rolled, then both dice can be put into the game, but both slots must be available for this to be allowed, and neither of the dice can be used in other rounds this turn without using bonuses such as hearts. It will be easier if we first look at just 1 die being put in for the moment though. The die can be placed in either of the areas so long as that space is available, meaning it has not already had a die of that value put in. So, if a 5 has been put into area A on turn 1, then on the following turn a 5 can still be put into this game, but only in area B. When you put a die into an area, that area is immediately summed and the total is compared to this chart, which indicates the result. Don't worry if that sounds confusing, it will be easier with the following example. So, on turn 1, a 2 is rolled and put into the game. The area is summed, and the result is a 2, so 1 coin is earned. On a second turn, a 4 is rolled and put into the same area. The area is summed again, but this time the result is a 6, so a star is earned. A sum of the area is only taken when a die is put into that area. So, when a pair is put in, 2 sums will be taken, like so. Again, to put 2 dice in, a pair must be rolled, and both spots in the areas must be free.
This game takes 1 die per turn. You can choose either the top row, the top and the relevant bottom row item, or any from the bottom row. Each option can only be used once, however. The top row yields the relevant bonus, while the bottom requires the bonus to get the star. So, for example, when putting a 2 into this game, I can choose to pay 1 coin and receive a star, receive 1 heart, or receive 1 heart and pay a pumpkin to receive a star as well. This is my favourite game out of the 9 realms for its initial simplicity, but how fully completing it requires a mix of planning and improvisation. The game takes 1 die per turn, and the value is placed into any of the squares. Bonuses are earned when a value is placed into a square with the appropriate symbol next to it. 2 stars are earned when the dice placed in the squares below a bird sum to make that value. So, for example, the first bird would be complete with a 1, 4 and a 2, which would yield 2 stars, 1 pumpkin and 1 coin. This game takes 1 die per turn. This realm is completed by filling up the castles from the bottom up. All the numbers on top must be lower than those below them for that column. Stars are earned when a row is completed. The little door pictures are considered to be filled in squares already and will count to a row or column being complete. Bonuses are earned when the column is completed for the relevant bonus. This game takes 1 die per turn like the others. When putting a die into this game, there are 2 options. The first is to mark off the value from the top row and take the relevant bonus. Then you must mark the other value of the dice rolled and write the number onto the square below. For example, a 3 and a 4 are rolled. The 3 is put into the game and a heart is gained. The 4 is then written in the box below. The 4 can still be used in other realms though. The other action possible is to open all crates matching the value of the dice. So, if after the second turn there are 2 crates with 2s on them, I can put a 2 into the realm and claim 2 stars. 1 die per turn like the others. On a turn you mark the relevant hex for the value put into the game and receive the bonus of either a heart or a pumpkin. 1 star is gained when 7 pumpkins or 7 hearts are earned in total. These can be used, they just have to have been earned. The rest of the stars are earned through matching hex values on both rings. So, if 2 1s have been put into this realm, 1 to each ring, a star is earned. Finally, this game also takes 1 die per turn. When putting a die into this realm there are 2 actions available. The first is to mark the relevant grape to the value of the die by circling it. This gives the bonus listed below. The second option is to combine the value of 1 die with at least 1 of the grapes to make 1 of the numbers on the jars listed below. From the wording, we can tell that only 1 die can be used for this, but multiple grapes can be used. So, for example, I could put a 1 into the game and combine it with the 4 and 5 grapes from previous rounds to make the Y in order of 10, giving me 2 stars. Thank you for making it to the end. I think everyone will be happy if I never say 1 die per turn again. It might not look like it, but this was 5 months in the making, so I hope you enjoyed it and give the game a go. Thank you to Jamey for making the game, and I highly recommend again that you look at his games.